Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. Thanks for joining me today on this podcast. This is a heavy subject today because, frankly, I'm sick of it. And the more I think about it, because I've had sort of a come to Jesus with myself over the weekend to reevaluate some things, reshift my attitude as we head into the last 4 months of this year, I thought it was important to do this podcast because we are sort of at a reset here, a changing of seasons. And maybe I think a change of mindset is needed. And I'm really disgusted. And so I wanted to talk about what I am disgusted because I know I'm not the only one who's disgusted. So many of us are. So welcome to Conversations at Kerrie's Korner, where we talk about issues that affect us all. And trying to come up with solutions. A way for me to do this is to bring to you subjects, talk about them, share thoughts, and then hopefully you'll do the same thing. You'll take this video, think about it, and then share this idea or this conversation with your circle of influence. And then hopefully they'll do the same thing so we can start to talk about these things and, if you will, come together in our minds and crush the ideas, right? Think about them and think about solutions so we can then take that and move forward with it. Because when we do that, when we listen to each other and we hear somebody else's point of view and we listen and we are respectful of the other person's ideas or thoughts, that's when true change can come into play, where we really can change the direction of the problem, or not necessarily eliminate it, but come up with a solution to the problem. So maybe I do, maybe you do, maybe somebody in your circle of influence, but when we come together and we talk about it, true change can happen. And so that is the inspiration for today's podcast and every podcast, helping us come up with solutions to these everyday challenges by listening, talking, and maybe brainstorming with each other to find a solution that works for everyone. Because after all, isn't that what we all want? We want to help each other be better, help each other resolve our conflicts and our differences. And when we come to a common place where we respect each other's opinions and ideas, that's when change happens. That's when true change can start. And I hope that this podcast starts that seed. It comes from me to you, and from you to your circle, and then from those people in your circle to their circle of influence. And that's how we get this ball rolling, if you will. So what am I disgusted about? I am disgusted that here in 2025, as we approach the final 4 months of this year, when I look back to this time a year ago, what's changed? I mean, really, what has changed? Are you in a better position than you were this time last year? Or the year before? Or the year before? Or the year before? Or the year before? Or 10 years ago? Are you in a worse position? Do you feel like we've made any steps to resolving any of these huge issues that we face in this country, this world? I don't think so. When I look back on a year ago today, I was planning for a major trip overseas to handle some very emotionally challenging issues within our family. And the idea of dropping 10 grand on that was not something I was happy about. Then I came home and I had to drop 30 grand on a new roof because the insurance companies don't pay for anything anymore. It's like we might as well not have any insurance anymore because they find a way to get out of it. Every single one of them does. Not just homeowners insurance, car insurance. The only ones that I think really don't have a way to get out of it is life insurance, right? Because somebody dies. And so unless they've done something that violated the contract, like skydiving or scuba diving or something, they're going to have to pay for it. But home insurance, auto insurance, disability insurance, you name it, any renter's insurance, you name it, and there's a way for these insurance companies to get out of it. So 30 grand on top of then 2 major surgeries, each which was about another $4,000 out of pocket. So, I'm dropping 50 grand. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to make that up in the next year? Well, I haven't. Because nothing is changing. Nothing is changing. And I'm very frustrated and I'm very disgusted because I feel like the reason we are not changing is not because we don't have effort. We're seeing effort on the part of an administration, but we have a group of individuals, a group of our leaders on the left and on the right that don't care. They don't care about you and me. They don't care that the American people are still struggling. They don't care. And so because of their own motivation, their own thirst for power and position and money, they don't care about trying to make things better. They don't care about working with a new administration. They would rather continue the chaos than to do the job that they were elected to do and that we pay for. We pay for people to go to Washington to make our lives better, the American people. That's us. We pay them. We elect them. And they're not doing their job. Any of them, in my opinion. None of them. With maybe the exception of Marco Rubio. I see him working really hard. But I don't see a lot of other people working really. And I see the president working hard. He works 20-hour days. So he's working hard. But it's like working up against a cement wall where you're hitting the tennis ball back and forth and it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back and you never get past that wall. And so there's no changes happening. And our leadership does not care on both sides. We elect these people to go to Washington so our lives, the American people, our lives improve. So people can go to work, have a nice life, put money in the pot, put money in their bank so that at some point they can eventually retire. I'm not at retirement age just yet, but I'm really close. And today, as I sit here on the 2nd of September, 2025, and I look down the road to when I can possibly retire, I can't even see that day now. After everything that's transpired in the last 10 years in this country, our elected officials have failed us completely on all levels. All of them. Not just holding the left accountable, I'm holding the right accountable too. And so we, at this time a year ago, made a decision as a collective to change what was happening. And what I have seen since that moment has been this back and forth. It's like hitting a tennis ball, like I said, against a wall, and it's not getting anywhere. It's just coming back. Hit another one, comes back. Hit another one, comes back. Hit one, it goes off the court, so that one's dead. Start a new serve, have a good serve. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and nothing's happening. The American people aren't seeing what we need to see. We are not experiencing the things that we need to experience to make our lives better. We are not going forward. The only ones that are going forward are the ones that are making over $250,000 a year. They're the only ones. Celebrities, entertainers, athletes, executives that sit in those big white buildings that have, $10,000, $15,000 a year bonuses. The average middle American is going nowhere. We are not seeing improvements. We are not seeing the end of the line. We are not seeing the target date that we can retire. My husband is 65. He can retire, but he can't. We can't afford for him to retire. And that's a slap in our face after 40 plus years in both of our industries, that he is at a point where he still cannot retire. And it's not for frivolous spending. It's not, I can promise you. We don't spend a lot. We just came back from a 2-day trip, and the last time we were on a 2-day trip was another in the state 2-day trip in February. We haven't been on a long holiday. We haven't been on a, all expenses paid holiday since our 20th wedding anniversary, our 25th wedding anniversary, almost 10 years ago. An actual holiday where we got on a plane, went somewhere, stayed in a nice place. Yeah, our 25th wedding anniversary. We just had our 33rd. So we don't spend frivolously. We don't live in an extravagant house. We have a nice home. We drive a nice car. We have one car. But we spend $7,000 a year for home insurance. We spend $400 a month for car insurance. We spend $100 a month for, everything else just to live. We don't scrimp on food. So we do have a big food bill, but I have never scrimped on food. I'm never going to scrimp on food because you got to live, you got to eat, you got to feed yourself. But what has changed? I mean, really, what has changed? So the person in the seat that runs the government has changed. But the other people, the other participants in our government, they haven't changed in 10 years, 20 years, and they don't care. They do not care about you and I. Because, see, they don't have to worry about anything. Their medical is paid for. They have a pension for the rest of their lives. They've got a great income. So why do they have to work? I mean, what do they possibly have to do? So they might have a deadline 2 or 3 times a year. They don't have to get along. And actually, they don't like to get along. That's why you and I suffer. That's why the American people, the middle class and below, are struggling today, because the people that we've elected for the last 10 to 15 years have not done their job. They've sucked the life out of the American people, and they've siphoned off the American people. And the American people finally woke up a year ago to what was going on. And so we send somebody to do the job, and they can't do the job because the other members of our checks and balances system that we have here in this amazing country don't want to do the job. They don't care about you and I. They don't care that 30-year-olds can't buy a house because they can't afford to buy a house. Even though they've gone to school, have a good job, do the right thing, work together, they still can't afford a house. That's not okay. It is not okay. It is not okay that my husband and I are in a position now where we may never, I may never get to retire because I'm a self-employed business owner. So if I want money coming in, I got to work. What has changed? How do we, the American people, make it change? I'd love to know. Because I've been watching and following and reading and educating and listening, and no one on either side has a solution. Because the person who's trying to make the changes is always looking at that ball, and it's always coming back because the other parties don't want it to happen. So you and I, the American people, we continue to suffer because of the inability of the people that we've elected and sent to Washington to work on our behalf don't. So what do we do, people? How do we fix this? Because I can't, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of working 16, 17 hours a day. I'm tired of watching people that are siphoning money off of us and living off the American worker. I'm tired of watching them get ahead while we all don't get ahead. So what's the solution? Somebody out there's got to have an idea. What is it? How do we fix this? How do we, the middle class and below, how do we save our futures? Because the people that we've elected to save our futures don't care. And I'm not talking about the president and the cabinet. I'm talking about the entity, the left and the right. Those people in this massive mechanism called Congress, they don't care. They're only concerned about them. Look at Pelosi. She's got so much money. Look at Schumer. Look at Jeffries. Look at McConnell. I mean, look at all of them. And look at the amount of money they have, while you and I worry whether or not we should buy that little bit of an extra expensive second six-pack of beer. Well, they jet off on our dollar. Take our money off our backs that we're working 12, 16 hours a day. For what? How do we fix it? How do we make them engage? How do we make them realize that they're sinking Americans one fight at a time with our current administration? I get it. They don't like each other. Oh my God, we've heard it for 10 years. But when is it going to stop? When are they going to stop and do what is right for all of us? I don't have a solution. I'm looking for you to tell me what the solution is or make a suggestion. Because my suggestion is we fire every one of them. Every one of them. Done. Every member of Congress should be excommunicated, cut out, and replaced with a completely new team. Because it's so incestuously dead. They can't figure out how to make one decision to work with what needs to happen for you and I, the American people. So I just say, fire all of them, start over, and then what? I do think we need to completely reevaluate and shut down our news media and start completely over with a code of conduct, a set of rules, standards, a license. If you don't have it, you don't comply, you don't work, you don't get paid, so you're not part of it. That's the only way we're going to regulate freedom of speech. And I'm not saying we should take away freedom of speech, because I'm on here and I have the right to communicate with you. But I think that our news media must be held accountable, and there must be a code of conduct, and there must be rules and a license. And if you violate those, because that can injure you and I as the American people with false information, there has to be accountability. And right now there's none. There's no accountability for our Congress either. That's also wrong. So I hope you take this And I hope you share it with your circle of influence. Talk about it. Brainstorm. Come up with ideas, because I'd love to hear back from you. Because my circle, we're all of the same opinion. Cut our losses. Get rid of every one of them. Impeach every one of them. Throw them out of office. We can't do that with the presidency because the president's not the problem. They don't like him. That's the problem. And they don't want to work with him. That's the problem. And they don't care about you and I. That's the big problem. Because if they did, they'd figure out a way to work with him. But they don't. They don't care. It's all about what they want, their feelings, their power. And you and I, we're just casualties of this war between the people in power, our Congress, and our executive branch. And you and I, we're the casualties of this war. And one by one, I feel like we're sinking. We're not getting where we need to go. Our young people are not seeing the American dream. The part of the American dream where you work hard all these years and you do the right thing, you pay your taxes and you do all these things, and then you look at yourself and you say, oh, I'm not even there yet. And I'm already at the age to where I should be. Or in 2 years, I could be at that age, but there's no way. Talk about a complete and total devastation and having the life sucked out of you. And I don't hear any of them talking about it. All I hear them saying is, we hate. And doing and saying anything they can to undermine the mechanism of our government because they hate. If you have some solutions, share them. Because I don't know any other way that we, the people, are going to fix this without complete and total revolution. And maybe that is the answer. I don't know. But something's got to give. Because sooner or later, we, the middle class and below, well, we're not even going to be here. That's truly how I believe. On this day, September 2nd, 2025, something's got to change. This war of attrition has got to stop. How do we make that happen? There's a lot of intelligent, super intelligent people, talented individuals. We got to use our brain power to fix this. And I'd love to hear from you. Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. Talk about heavy issues, but these are issues that affect so many of us in our daily lives. And my part in this is to initiate the conversation. So my circle of influence talks about it, your circle of influence talks about it, and it creates this ripple effect. We all start talking about it. Maybe somewhere in along here we come up with a plan to fix it. After all, we're in charge, are we not? We're the people. We the people? We the people. They're accountable to we the people. We need to make them accountable now, before all of our futures are out of reach. And the American dream for our younger generations is completely gone. Because that's where it's headed today. I try to do 2 podcasts a week talking about our issues. And I'd love to hear back from you. So let me know what you think. Leave me your comments. I'm all over social media. You can find me. And I hope somewhere, if you watch this, it inspires you to do what I'm doing and trying to initiate change. God bless on this Tuesday after Labor Day 2025. Many blessings. It's time for change. We are in the season of change right now. Let's make some change. We the people, right? We have the power if we come together and make it happen. God bless.